Hello, YouTube, and welcome to episode 4 of the In Your Head podcast. I'm your host, Jesse, and with me today is comedian, producer, I guess if we want to call him that. Director, Mike Fox.
I wear many hats. Writer, director, producer, comedian, lover.
There you go, folks. Get in touch. We'll have some Twitter information for you already. Look at that, giving you a good reason right there.
With my eyebrow.
Before we go too deep, Mike,
Yes.
we got to have our intro question here. Our statute of initiation.
Uh-huh.
So, you know what this is all about.
I do.
So, what story did you bring for us to get this started?
So when I was in training in the Army, I was in the Army, people. After basic training, you go to something called AIT, which is basically basic training again, but a little more freedom.
Like job specialization, essentially.
Yeah, it's where you learn your
for
individual
everybody, yeah.
job. You still drill sergeants, but like you don't have to work on the weekend after 18, whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is, we weren't allowed off the base, but we were free on the weekend. Also, my AIT, most are like 4 to 5 weeks. Mine was 7 months.
Oh.
So we like lost our fucking minds. And we started 2 rival gangs, the Pirates and the Ninjas. And we would just beat the shit out of each other, destroy each other's rooms, like tip over wall lockers, flip bunks, whatever. Anyway, so I was in the Pirates, and we were walking through the woods. This is in Virginia on the James River, Fort Eustis, and we found a John boat, like a little fishing boat. And being pirates, we decided that was now our boat. However, the part of the river it was on, there was an island we wanted to get to. Because pirates need an island because you got to put your treasures.
Yeah, well, of course, where else?
Right. We had to move it across a road. So we take this boat, drag it out of the water, and we're crossing the... Now we're sealing a boat.
Okay. Well, that's the first part of this, so we've already got that.
That would be the crime, I suppose, is... I don't know. What's theft of a boat? Is there a name for that?
Grand theft, I guess we can go with?
Grand theft naval?
Yeah. He was Army, though, but, you know. It's,
right. Well, but I mean, anyway.
Maritime
whatever
crime.
Stealing a boat is called, it was that. And we're carrying it across the road, and the thing's like 10 feet, 12 feet long. There were 4 of us. We each have a corner, and we were in the middle of the road when a Jeep pulls up and stops because we're blocking the road. We were struggling. And
You've been out of basic a while, I
a
said.
sergeant major gets out. And we're like, oh, all right, fuck, we're going to jail. Like, oh, this boat, by the way, had like inspection stickers and certifications.
So it was registered and
yeah,
all. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And not to us.
No, I got that part.
And we're like, we're fucked. And the sergeant major gave us a hand, helped us get it across the road and into the river on the other side, and then peaced out. And you know what? Now I think about it, I have an additional crime that we committed, which don't know the name for it either. But we had recruited somebody who we found out was a spy for the Ninjas. So we told them that the initiation was to be blindfolded and rowed out to the island where you had to dig up a buried treasure.
Okay.
Instead, we rowed them out to the island blindfolded, hog-tied them with duct tape, and left.
Okay. I'm sure that might be kidnapping or something
Well,
along those lines.
Yeah. So he had to... We were about... It was a 4 or 5 mile walk back to base. In fact, it was 3.5 miles. I remember we used to run it. I mean, in the mornings for PT. But we were about 3 miles back to the barracks when he comes sprinting down the road, minus a shoe and no socks, and found out that he had obviously gotten free, taking his shoes off to swim back across the river, had lost his shoe. The socks got so waterlogged that he deserted them, and That's my bonus crime.
Oh man.
Was abandoning someone.
So I gotta ask, when the sergeant major
Yeah.
caught up with you guys and found you there, was there any exchange of words? Was there any
Yeah.
like did he say, "All right, you guys steal a boat," or
No, he said, "Do you need a hand?" Because we were stuck in the middle, like we could not get out of the way. We were right in the middle of
Right.
the road, and he couldn't get around us. He was like, "You guys need a hand?" We're like, "Yeah." He must have known that we were AIT because we didn't have unit patches. We're all privates. We didn't have a crest on our beret. Actually, we might have been in PTs. Either way, we were blatantly AIT. We just had that like I am a newbie look. But he didn't bring it up.
yeah,
We
see,
weren't even
that's...
supposed to be in the woods,
Okay.
let alone with a stolen boat.
Okay, so then that's going to lead to my second question. So it was just all that happened in just one thing. You just got out there, found the boat, took the boat.
Yeah.
Wow, and got the help. Okay, that's
Yeah, I mean the from one side, basically the road crossed the river, and so we had to go over it just to get to the part of the river we wanted.
right.
So we only had to move the boat about 30 feet. It's just 15 of it was road.
Oh man,
But
that's
we saw the boat and we said, well, we're pirates.
right. Well,
We should steal a boat to call ourselves that.
right. I mean, you got to have a boat if you're a pirate. That makes perfect.
And it has to be
sense.
stolen. If you buy your boat, you're not a pirate. You're just a dude for the boat.
Yeah, you're just. It's just actually the part that just mystifies me is that the sergeant didn't bust you down.
Sergeant Major.
Sergeant
That
Major,
is someone with at least a battalion under him.
Yeah, and he just thought it was cool and just let
I
it
don't
happen.
know. I mean, Sergeant Majors are famous. I mean, their whole job is to bust balls and rank. And so I can't imagine that he just didn't feel like doing the paperwork. I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know why he didn't ask any questions. Like, you guys aren't allowed to have vehicles. Why do you have a boat?
Well, that would have been a good question.
Like, you aren't allowed to have a cell phone. You're certainly not allowed to have a boat. He didn't ask anything, so.
So if there was a
Oh.
question later on in this, which isn't in here, but if there was a question of what do
is
you
the
consider,
statute of limitations for boat theft?
I doubt it's probably going to get back to you. But if there was a question of what would you consider the luckiest day of your life, would that probably rank up there somewhere?
Realistically, that would have been jail time. Because we really did steal a boat that was inspected and registered. And those things are a few grand.
Yeah.
So, maybe? I mean...
Yeah, that's a stretch, man. That's wow. That's something.
Yeah, I have never, we must have just all looked terrified. Maybe he took pity on us. I don't know.
Like these poor guys just got into AIT, and I'm gonna end their lives here, and
And
just
put them in jail. I don't know. I thought the MPs were coming for sure.
maybe he just wanted to wait and see how it played out, see if there was an interesting story that followed later
But
about
he didn't
about
ask-
four
oh.
privates that drowned on a boat somewhere.
We'll be somewhere beyond the James River.
Yeah, that's all. Well, because you guys steal a boat, there was no gas in it, you pushed it out off, and boom, these guys drifted out into nowhere.
We had a paddle. There must have been paddles in it. We certainly didn't bring paddles expecting to find a boat.
Well, well, then that would have been premeditated. That's a whole nother. That's a
Yeah.
whole nother crime. Just stumbling across a boat and stealing it
Well,
is
we
one
were
crime.
pirates, so it's all premeditated to steal boats.
That's true.
The specific boat might not be known, but boats will be taken. There will be plunder, and there was no plunder.
You didn't even get to keep the boat. Huh?
I mean,
How
we didn't give it back.
How long was it under your custody,
Our
shall we
purview.
say?
Christ, that was about 3 months in, so 4 months. And, I mean, we hid it, and we left it there. We never put it back, so...
All 30
So I
feet.
probably still have that boat.
This sounds like a road trip that might have to happen.
We'd also have to break into Fort Eustis.
This is the road trip that's not going to happen. Because they have guns. So
They do.
Yeah, lots of guns, more guns than I have. Um, so, so speaking of road trips and good things on camera and stuff, because that would be probably something fun to catch on camera.
Oh, I videotaped us with the kid that we duct taped and hog-tied and left on the island. That is on video, and I still have the video.
This needs to be on YouTube, and what it
It's
needs
on
to.
one of those old JVC like mini tapes.
Oh, there's
and
companies that rip those things.
I know, but they're like $50, and there's got to be an easier way.
We'll find something. So this is a perfect segue because your, I guess, would it be production company or how do you?
Production, yeah.
Production company, Twice Mike Productions. I know you have some.
TwiceMike.com.
I'm gonna put links and stuff down.
Twice
below.
Mike Pro on Instagram, Twice Mike Pro on Facebook, Twice Mike Pro on Twitter. We don't really use Twitter, but it's there.
Okay.
And on YouTube, it's a whole bunch of characters. So
So
go to the website.
I'll put links and stuff below to most of his pages. I've never actually used Instagram myself. I'm gonna get people hitting on me for this one, but I do not have an Instagram. I've never used it. I'm amazed I even use a Twitter right now because
Instagram
of this.
is great for promotion. Actually, I recommend it.
I might have to give it a shot now. I mean, a lot of people have spoken about it, so I think I might have to give it a shot.
I have trouble staying committed to it because it really is just. I mean, it's owned by Facebook, and it's just Facebook, but only pictures and 1-minute video. And
Okay.
if I just looked at Facebook, I'm not gonna. It's the same shit. It's the same people. It's the
Same pages, same everything. Okay,
Right,
just
yeah.
with a different title
Just a
across the
different
top
app.
of the web page. Yeah. So.
But it's great for promotion.
Right. And in a production company, that's
Yeah.
huge. So, so a lot of what you do, I mean, I guess explain to
Um,
most of the people who aren't into,
well,
that field.
We do music videos. We do events like weddings, and hire us to film your weddings. We're good at it, and we love it.
There you go. And I know I've got.
Weddings are not fun, but I mean, they're good.
I was a wedding photographer,
Oh,
so
yeah? Yeah, it's
I
miserable.
level with you.
I mean,
and
it's not miserable.
It's trying.
The
I guess
last
is the
wedding we
word.
did. Oh, I shouldn't talk that.
Well, they're tough. I mean, they're taxing. It's somebody's
They're
day,
taxing.
and yeah, it is.
and it is stressful. You don't want to.
Yeah.
Mess up. My phone rang in the last one actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's
It didn't ring. I had an alarm set, and apparently being silenced didn't stop the alarm from
Overrides
going
it.
off.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
It's somebody's day. You don't want to mess up. You can have everything 100 times redundant over 3 packs of batteries. You can have everything. And being a photographer and videographer, obviously,
Yeah.
you feel it no matter what. It's always in the back of what's going to happen.
There's no reshoots for a wedding
Right,
ceremony.
exactly. So you don't get to redo that. I mean, the wedding photographer part, when you drag them off somewhere and do shots,
Right.
that's whatever that is. But the ceremony's never going to be redone.
Right.
That first father-daughter
We
dance.
missed the toast because they started an hour and a half late, and we did have spare. We had triplicate batteries, but they were in the car, and our batteries died because they didn't tell us they were going to do the toast yet. Because there was an hour and a half, 2 hours between the ceremony and the reception
Right.
actually starting, so we missed the toast.
Oh.
So we got the best man and the maid of honor to do like a shout out that we're ripping the audio from, but yeah, I mean that was rough.
It's a lot. Yeah, my horror wedding story was actually one for my family. I was at a wedding, but I brought my camera. Because everybody knows I like to take.
Right.
This was when I was really like into photography more, and I'd love having my camera. So I
Before
brought.
you were a famous podcaster.
Oh yeah, famous, hugely famous. All my views that I have. And DJ. I think DJ's up there higher as far as what I'd rather be right now is my I know DJ status. I think more people know me for that than this, unfortunately. But I brought 4 or 5 rolls of good film in my pocket the whole time.
Film.
Yeah, this was back. This was back in the day. I'm dating myself here, folks.
No, actually, I still have a hand cranked film camera.
There's nothing wrong with them. They still work great, but
Well,
it's hard to get the film developed. So
but that was the thing when I took photography in college and we developed film. It was
Yeah.
that long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It was there was no digital photography classes at the time.
yeah,
And So I got the experience of developing film,
Yeah.
which is helpful. Even working in digital, you understand how cameras work better
Right.
when you've developed film.
Exactly, and that's
But I'm
what,
sorry.
what we learned. Well, that's what I learned from. And even going to this wedding, I got there and with my family, and then all of a sudden they say the photographer's not going to be here,
Oh,
and I became a wedding
so
photographer
you didn't know
in the moment.
you
Yeah,
were gonna be.
a wedding
You
photographer
were
that
just
day.
bringing your camera to bring your camera.
Yeah, I mean, it was more like, hey, take some shots for
Right.
us, take some shots for your aunt, and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And I did, and it was fun. But all of a sudden, I had to go into photographer mode, and you know, probably the same as I do, that it's a brain mode that you have to put yourself into.
It is
Um,
stressful, and everything is
Yeah.
immediately on the spot. And
yeah, I mean, it was all photos for me. I didn't have to do any video, but it was
Right.
just I had, you know, you even feel different because when you do a job, you're like, okay, look, everybody's standing out here and they're doing their thing. And most people don't realize it, but now all of a sudden you're the photographer.
Yeah.
You now have carte blanche to go in front of anybody,
Right.
be anywhere,
Right.
and it totally changes your mindset as far as the way you are at an event. And it was really weird
you
to
consider
feel that
yourself
switch.
basically invisible.
Yeah.
In that, yeah, you have freedom of movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was a total switch flip, and the
Because
first time in my life I
The
felt
only
that.
person no one's gonna remember is the photographer.
Yep.
He's on any of the pictures.
Yeah, and it was a weird feeling to be that, and it's interesting to see somebody else who understands what
Yeah.
you know
It's stressful.
what it's like.
And also, people don't realize when we do, like, I've done a bunch of comedy shows. And when you do a set, you can bullshit for the whole show except for your set. When you film a show, you don't get to have a cigarette.
Yeah.
Like, there is no break. Like,
Right.
you have to be at the camera the entire time for
Yeah.
most events. I mean, obviously, if you're filming a reception or taking pictures at a reception, you can pop off here and there.
Yeah.
But for, like, shows, no.
Yeah, because that's it. I mean, that's
Right.
that's a really full time. You know, you're on the stage, you're watching the stage, and that's
Especially
you know,
with video where, you know, if the camera decides to have a hiccup, or usually multiple cameras, and you just hit start again. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So it's and again, being the DJ, same sort of thing. I feel that at the open mic, it's you know you're in there, you're in the show, and this is what you're focusing
Although-
on because we were talking about this earlier. It's what you're
and maybe this is just being a comic, but I feel like doing a show live, there's more freedom to make mistakes because it's a live show.
as opposed to it getting recorded.
As opposed to,
yeah.
right, where when something's done live, when they laugh, when they break on Saturday Night Live, it's funny.
Yeah.
If they broke in a, like, sitcom, that's not okay.
Right.
People just expect video to be perfect.
Yeah.
Even if it's of an event that was live. It's not live now, that should have been edited.
Yeah.
So I don't worry too much about live shit.
Yeah. Live stuff, I guess, isn't.
Although,
isn't bad.
you know, when I DJ, I do get a little... I do kind of feel that stress, so maybe
Yeah.
why.
No, it's tough. I mean, we're both somewhat in, you know, in the comedy world. I've told my viewers before, I'm part of High Note Humor, and you are I guess,
Starving Naked Comedy?
most of Starving Naked Comedy. I mean, I don't
I'm
say
most. I'm 1/6, I guess. I don't think Dan Madden would consider himself a member. I haven't seen him since June, so I haven't talked to him since then. Yeah, I don't know how many of us there are at the moment,
Yeah.
but I'm a founding member of Starving Naked.
Okay, well there we go. That's a good word for it. Founding member of Starving Naked. So Starving Naked is located in. I want to say Collins, but Pennsauken. Okay, in Pennsauken.
Bobby
Ray's.
Ray's Tavern.
Yep.
For now, that may change. Although I like Bobby's, we'll be back.
Does Starving Naked actually have a website itself, or just a Facebook?
We do. I don't know if I have it live at the moment, but it's starvingnaked.com.
Okay. Or is there just a Facebook?
It's also on Facebook. It's SN Comedy.
Okay, cool. I'll make sure I put the Facebook link below for people to check out.
Facebook.com/SN.
Because those are usually a lot easier to maintain and cheaper as well, for sure.
Well, I mean, I have the domain. I can't remember if I switched hosts. I just don't
Oh.
remember if I ever made the site live again.
Right. Well, there we go. Now it's something to keep in your mind for sure. So, So now I'm going to ask you a question. I think we've got most of that covered that we wanted to talk about. So I'm going to ask you a question I've asked all my guests because I am a tad geeky, and right over to our right is an arcade cabinet. So I have to ask this: I said, what is your favorite video game of all time? If it's a series, I want you to pick one out of that series. So that one game that you can't walk past without playing, or just when.
That's well. So you asking your favorite band? There's so many. Try to be quick. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan, even the not as good. Like I like Unity,
Okay.
which objectively wasn't. I didn't get any of like the crazy glitches, but it wasn't a very good game. And I haven't played the new one yet, but I don't think my favorite game. That would be my favorite series, and if a series would count, I would choose that. I think my favorite game of all time though was the original Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
Now it's been so long since I played it, but I
But
think
if
I
you-
had more fun with that
Yeah.
than any game.
But if you had the chance,
Or-
we got the computer fired up,
Deus
and
Ex. But see, a lot of games I like are at least to a degree narrative driven, so the replayability. On my favorite, Miss Pac-Man, I guess would be the.
okay, so
I am in fact that might be my top game anyway.
Okay.
I love Miss Pac-Man.
good classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, good game. Good choice over the regular Pac-Man. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't even know
tighter,
the
better
difference.
level design.
Better ghost design.
Yeah.
The AI's better.
But I really, the level design to me is big. When I
Yeah.
try to play the regular, first off, I mean, I played so much Miss Pac-Man that it's twitch muscle memory
Oh, yeah.
anyway. So different level designs on Pac-Man mess me up, but also I don't know, it's just better.
Oh no, I wholeheartedly agree with you. If there's in Pac-Man, for anybody who doesn't quite know it, there's a glitch in the game that you can pull off almost immediately in the game. Is you go to a certain spot. You can look this up. It's well known. But if you go to a certain spot in the map, very close to where you start, and just look at a certain direction and get in there in a certain way, you can stay there indefinitely, and none of the ghosts can actually catch you. So this doesn't happen in Miss Pac-Man at all. So obviously the AI is a little bit different. But if you find out the way the ghosts are, it's very weird the way the ghosts all work. So that's why they
I
can
also-
never get you.
I think the scoring in Miss Pac-Man is better too. Although now I don't remember why.
I'd have to check that out. Might have to take a look at that for research purposes after this game.
I was
After this podcast, I think
religious Miss Pac-Man player for a time.
it's a good choice. It's
And
one
multiple
of,
times.
It's one of my favorites, and I know I have it on my arcade cabinet right here next to us, as a matter of fact. So it is a great game, and you play the faster version, I hope, right? the sped up version of it, because I know there's kind of a
I
regular.
always play on the classic machine.
Okay, I know there's a couple different versions that have come out with the.
Now
Some that
whatever
came
the
out with
original-
Galaga,
the
yeah.
original cabinet.
Okay.
Although I did, sorry.
So,
Prior to that, I used to play it on my computer a lot, and that I would play sped up.
okay. All right. So before we were live here, I gave you paper with a lot of circles on it.
You did.
11, as a matter of fact. I counted. And so with those 11 circles in a few minutes of time, this is what Mike Fox drew. So I'm rather intrigued by this drawing because you're the first one that has really incorporated the circles in a way that I haven't seen yet, that nobody's done. I mean, I first originally watched you start drawing. You did start with the gas mask on the right side.
Mhm.
And I saw you doing the eyes, which I thought was
Yeah, the Ninja
was
Turtle
something.
was an afterthought.
Oh yeah, he's still cool. I still like him, but the progression of watching this whole thing take shape from the accuracy of it. I mean it.
I don't know about accuracy.
Well,
but-
I couldn't think of a. I mean, you even have the tank off the side,
Yeah.
and to see the whole thing come to shape in the 4 circles is like the neatest way that I've seen anybody use the circles. And
Thank you.
it's I mean, the little body in there is an awesome bonus. I wasn't quite expecting that, but I am glad you didn't go with your first instinct, which was, as you told me
Boobs.
afterwards, was boobs in the 2 circles that were
Well, if you look,
down below.
I mean, I guess I should point here.
Yeah, oh yeah,
There.
yeah, down below here, folks.
These boobs.
They would have been, they would have fallen in perfectly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess maybe if I start giving people a little bit more time, I think that a good 7 or 8 minutes would give people the chance to add boobs.
If I
and
had
stuff
had
to
the
everything.
opportunity, there would have been a matching red bikini on the Ninja Turtle. He would have shoulders, and he would have huge breasts the size of his head, exactly the size of his head,
Yeah.
same circumference. Um, And yeah, red bikini.
But why the Ninja Turtle? I mean,
Why did I draw a Ninja Turtle?
Yeah,
or why would he get boobs?
Where did that? No. I no. The boobs would just seem like because they
'Cause
are
they're
they are
circles.
perfectly
Yeah.
positioned. But I see this with us with the talk of the military that we've already had.
Well,
and I can
also-
see where this might have came
Yeah,
from.
the circles. That the 3 circles just I don't know made me think
Yeah.
of a gas mask.
But then why to the Ninja Turtle? Like how did that
I
that
used
come
to draw
into your
Ninja
head?
Turtles a lot when I was a kid, and I had a red and of the colors in front of me, which were really just the primary and secondary colors. But
Yeah.
I'd already used the green, and I was looking at the red, and I thought Ninja Turtle.
So it wasn't a choice of Raphael was my
Look.
favorite.
I hope that the turtles all wear red face masks. Not masks, but eye masks.
The eye masks, yeah.
In the comic.
Right, in the comic, which we also got to, we covered the comic. It may be a little small down here, but there are pupils in there because this was a point of
Yeah,
discussion
well,
as to whether or not we were going to leave it to the white eyes with the comic.
So there are pupils because I cheated and I ran out of time, and the eyes were not well defined, and I didn't have time to ink or to line the perimeter of the eyes, so I just dotted them.
Okay.
Give it some definition.
No,
It is wrong, but I apologize.
No, well,
I apologize to my fans. I apologize to my family. I'm ashamed.
Well, it
and,
can't-
I asked for space during this time so that I can reflect and grow.
okay. Well, it can't all be canon, so we do have to just move on. Sadly, we can't all. I mean, I
You know what,
couldn't
let it
even. I don't even think I could even draw a Ninja Turtle anymore after all these years. I don't know. I'm not.
Well, the
even-
problem is there aren't circles. I don't know what I was thinking when I looked at a circle and thought turtle head, because they're wider on the base.
Yeah, they have that kind of.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it was ill-conceived from the start.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's more of a why than a artistic value. In 5 minutes, I'm not expecting a Mona Lisa, but I think I want to see where people go with their thought and what goes from what to what. If you see last week's podcast and you see Josh Carter's podcast, there's a progression of a snake, a cobra even, a dagger, a skull, and then he's like, wow, this doesn't look good, and then takes it to a flower. So, and
Those
a
all
cat.
just sound like tattoos from the 90s.
I mean, it could have been where
Like
he was
the
going
tough
with
guy
it, yeah.
cool things.
And that's-
Cobra, dagger.
And yeah, and there was an eye in there, but he thought, oh, this is, you could see his
Or paws.
progression, yeah.
Are you sure he wasn't just drawing pogs?
You might, you know what? I'm gonna have to ask him. I hope you see this, Josh. If you're watching, if you can comment,
bitter.
let us know. Let us know if you just had
Yeah,
a huge
comment.
pog collection, because I want to know if you had a pog collection as well.
Definitely. How old is Josh? He's younger than us.
He's a little younger than us. I think he's right around 30. So I think if I recall,
So,
But
so
don't quote
he's
me.
Pog age.
yeah. I still think I remember my favorite pog from back in the days. We're getting so off the
I had a
rails,
gold
but
slammer. I mean, it
I
wasn't actual gold, but
my slammer, which was my favorite, was it was an OJ slammer. It had guilty
As in
and
orange
not
juice?
guilty.
Okay.
No, it
As
was
in
OJ.
OJ.
It was
Yeah,
OJ.
that was the.
And it was guilty on one side, and he was sad, and then not guilty on the other, and he was happy. And I should have really kept this thing. I don't know where. God knows that we probably sold this thing years ago, but I should have kept that thing because that probably has some value now. The OJ
I
Slammer.
don't know. Any Pogs carried value.
Well, I feel like you see what OJ was doing about his paraphernalia.
Yeah, I
mean-
don't know that any slammer. Well, he got put in the slammer.
He did get put in a slammer, which would have been appropriate, but that was I mean that was all the talk in the '90s was that.
I mean, there was other
Incident.
shit. There was Monica Lewinsky. That was pretty big, but
Mm.
pretty much that and Pogs.
that was the '90s.
You opened a newspaper. And it was half Pogs, half Lewinsky,
Oh
and
man.
OJ, but only in reference to Pogs.
Man, I miss the '90s so much. Simple times. Now it's all Trump and North Korea. That's about it now. That's all there is that is going on in the news.
That's not true. There's ISIS.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there's that.
There's Nazis.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good stuff, is there? We really haven't got anything good out of it. Yeah, there's not any good news.
There's.
Nah, we could be here for a
Has
while. on this
anything
one.
good happened?
Not that I'm finding, so I just keep looking at
Um,
pictures of cats on the internet. It makes me feel better.
There's a lot of sexual harassment. No, everything
that's not
is
good either.
awful.
No, yeah, there's nothing really good.
Oh God!
Oh well. Yeah, well, so
Yay!
hey, well, since
This
we're
podcast is fun.
going down that road, we're gonna keep it going and try to go a little bit darker, deeper. The next question I'd like to ask everybody is, so if I'm
I'd hang myself.
still working on words to do this with, but if you died today,
I may.
and we all may, it may happen, but if you look back on your life, if you died today, how would you feel about the way you've lived your life and things like that? Now, I'm not talking about, I haven't done all the stuff I wanted to. I know I'm talking to people my
No, I
age.
have.
Okay, well, even then, you're the first
Nailed
guest
it.
I've had yet that has. But I mean,
This was the last thing.
oh man, that's fantastic. I
It
didn't. You
was-
should have told me that beforehand. I would have been more pumped up.
Well, I wanted, I didn't want to make a thing of it.
Okay, I hear you.
I wanted it to be natural,
But I mean,
organic.
as far as that goes, like, how would you feel about that?
I mean, I'd be dead.
Right, but if
so
you had the
it'd feel
chance to
much.
look back and look and say,
I
like,
don't know. I mean, I'd be bummed that I was dead. I really like being alive. Much better than not, I think.
we don't have a definitive answer on that yet, so
Well-
we may have to.
I just assume that there's just an end to consciousness.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a lot like before me, but later.
yeah, the after effects.
But
I mean, as far as you feel,
but any remorse would be that I don't get to do more shit,
Right.
which is the unfinished business
Right.
that you said not to count. So,
right. So more along the lines of how would you feel like how would people respond at your funeral, more or
I
less?
don't
Like
know.
like a lot of times, like would it be people with empty words, like Mike, he was a great guy, he was
I have
really great.
no
And
idea.
no.
I don't know who would come to my funeral.
Mm.
I mean, presumably my dad, hopefully my daughter. I mean, well, yeah, hopefully she would go, but hopefully she doesn't have to, except I would rather die before her, so hopefully eventually she does. Or we live forever. It's a weird thought.
Yeah,
I
it's
would hope that one day my daughter has to go to my funeral, because the alternative is I go to hers. So.
yeah, which is not anything anybody
Yeah.
ever wants to do.
No.
So right. So I mean, but as far as that goes, I guess it's. Are you?
But I don't know who'd go, or I have no idea.
Well, are you
I
proud
feel
of the
like
life
people
you've
would
led?
care. Am I proud of it? I haven't thought about it. I don't have a plan. And I
Well-
never have. And I just kind of do what I want in that moment.
Mm.
And I'm not ashamed of the life I've lived. I did some cool shit.
Well, you've served our country, and again, thank you for that.
Eh,
But well,
I
you
got
know,
paid.
I know, and a lot of people kind of shrug it off who are vets, and they're like, yeah, it's, and I've heard that before, but I mean, to a guy like me whose father served in Vietnam,
Yeah, but- Like, my grandfather was in World War II. That was a different... Vietnam, World War II, those were real wars.
See,
Although Vietnam also, I feel like that's kind of like Iraq, and then it's like, well, thanks. I mean, you didn't really have to do that. I mean, you did, but we didn't.
well,
So that's another thing. It's not like World War II where it was a just war. Not to get political, but,
Right,
but it
no.
wasn't a war of defense.
but it was still people who served and did
Yeah.
what they did that a lot of people wouldn't want to do. A lot of people wouldn't want to.
I don't know. It was pretty cool. I got to, throw grenades and drive Humvees up hills, and I had to blow up a refrigerator with a 50 cal machine gun.
Okay, well.
And I got to fly in helicopters all the time, so yeah, it wasn't bad.
Okay, no, that's fair, and
I had to watch it blow up around me. We get mortared.
and I guess I just think because
Churchill said there's nothing more thrilling than being shot at a mist.
I guess that's true because it seems like the guys who tell me those stories say the same way. That was their stories. A friend of mine who served in the 4th Infantry, his story that he told me was, they were up in a tower and an RPG sailed past the tower. And
I never had anything that.
yeah, I mean
Immediate.
that's so that was like his that wakes you up.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a feeling, and I understand that everybody sees it a little different. Again, not to get too political, but I know that everybody sees these particular wars as
I was in Iraq, by the way,
Right.
dear viewer.
okay.
Not that. No, I don't want to get political, but Iraq being, in my mind, even less justified or necessary than Afghanistan, which at least was reactionary.
Right, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no.
the guys who did it. Whether my theory has always been, you don't have to believe in the reason they went there,
Well,
but
I
to
think-
support the people who are
Well,
doing it.
To me, the military is like a tool, a hammer. A hammer doesn't get to choose what it's used for. You can use a hammer to build a house or to beat someone to death. It's not the hammer's fault.
Right.
But it's good to have a military, and you can't blame the military for how it's used.
Right. So I support.
So yeah,
The people who
and
go
in that
over.
regard, it is a service. I just wish I could have had a better war.
Yeah, I know. There hasn't been one that like you're referring to since World War II. I mean,
Yeah,
so it hasn't really been anything that.
but like,
Or was Korea before or after?
it was
I'm
immediately after.
okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. My history is
Well,
awful,
always
folks.
immediately
My
after.
dating and history is awful. So don't. I'm gonna. I know I'm gonna catch hell for that one.
That is pretty bad
Yeah.
because Korea happened because of World War II.
Okay. See. Thank you.
Soviet Union took the north, and the U.S. took the south, because Soviet Union didn't want the U.S. having control of the country, because Japan had Korea, and had it for like 80, 90 years prior to World War II.
Right.
So it couldn't just suddenly be a nation again because they didn't have a pre-existing government for like 100 years.
Right.
But Russia didn't want the U.S. having control of a bordering nation. The U.S. didn't want Russia to have all of Korea, so they split it, and that immediately led to a communist versus capitalist war.
Right.
Not immediately, but like within a couple of years.
Right. See, it's all coming back, but for me, dates mess me up. Like, when it like okay, like everything you said, I'm like, yeah, okay. Now it all rings a bell, but
it was like
it's
46
just-
to 49.
Right.
It was like right after. It might have been 48 to 52, something like that. But
yeah. The only time I remember stuff is when it was pretty much in my lifetime. That's I can't remember it because then I have to even track
what year
it
did
back
Iraq
to
start?
Iraq was 2003.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Good job.
because
It was like
now
March, I want to say February.
yeah, I believe it was March because it happened on my birthday. It started on March 19th of 03. See,
You
that's
said I believe it was March because I have it on. I feel like you knew it was March then.
well. Once you said that, because then I remember that was the date that they started.
Yeah,
So
man, I was bummed.
yeah, well, and that's the way I can remember it because history books and that I guess we have a generation that doesn't get to, it's that was our big incident was 9/11,
Right.
and that was the thing. That's the date in the history books that we're all gonna remember, and even my son, who was too young to remember it, and
Well, the funny thing about 9/11 is, unlike Pearl Harbor, which is a date that will forever live in infamy, most
Right.
people don't know December 7th. Because we don't call it 12/7. We
Yeah.
call it Pearl Harbor Day.
Right.
9/11 is named after the date. So if you know what happened, you know what day it happened.
Right. So, and we remember
Right.
the
well, I
stuff
mean,
around it.
But like
we
my
remember,
daughter, who to her it might as well be Pearl Harbor because she was born a year after.
Right.
But like obviously she knows what day it is because it was named 9/11.
Right. And I guess it really wouldn't have been much. And it wasn't really centered on one thing either, because there was also
there was
the Pentagon and wherever the other plane was going to
Pennsylvania.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I don't want to go into conspiracies. I'm
no,
not.
that's-
I'm not
yeah.
a conspiracy guy. I do wonder if the Air Force shot down that plane in Pennsylvania, because that would actually be the thing to do. It's unfortunate,
It is.
but
yeah.
unlike I don't think Bush was behind, but if
No.
you've had the Pentagon hit, you've had the World Trade Center hit twice,
Yeah.
and there's a third aircraft that's gonna fly into something. I mean,
Right.
you should shoot it down.
Yeah. Well,
Because
that's.
like if they could have shot down the planes that flew into the World Trade Center, it's unfortunate that those innocent lives on the planes would have been lost. But think how many lives it would have saved.
Yeah. Kill one to save 100.
So-
yeah.
In that regard, I understand why the government wouldn't admit to it, but I also don't think it'd be an evil thing or a bad thing. It'd be the classic moral dilemma of if a train is about to hit 5 people, but you can pull a switch
Right.
and it'll hit one. Do you
Yeah.
pull the switch?
Yeah. That's exactly what I mean. It's
It
going to
would be
be.
pulling the switch, and I wonder if they did.
I guess they worried more about how people would judge it, because
Right.
most people don't
Well, that's
think
the
it's the
thing.
way we do. It's
Like one of the reasons I don't believe in conspiracies in general is the government can't keep anything secret, and so that's why I would say probably they didn't shoot it down. Except that would be a small thing not a lot of people would have to be involved in, as opposed to orchestrating an entire attack.
right.
Like that would just be a few pilots and a
Yeah.
airfield, and not even the entire airfield. So
Yeah. 2 pilots scramble, out they go.
right, and the flight ops, or maybe not even flight ops. They don't have to know.
Nope.
Just then, 2 pilots in the chain of command. So that's possible.
Yeah. I mean, I would have.
In my mind, more likely, without more likely than passengers bringing down the aircraft.
Right. Well,
would be,
and I have played that.
I'm playing
uh,
with. I don't know.
well-
I'm not trying to get.
Well, and I have played the flight simulator, the commercial flight simulator
Right.
games that used to be at Dave and Buster's, and I can't fly worth a shit. So if that happened and I had to pilot the plane, it probably would have landed in somewhere in Pennsylvania too. Unfortunately, 'cause
Well-
I can't fly worth a damn. So
Right. I'm not saying that the
But-
official story
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. That is very possible. I'm not saying I believe that happened. I'm
Right.
saying I think the government would do it. I think they would lie about it out of a feeling of necessity. And I think they are capable of that secret, as opposed to most conspiracies, where I just think they aren't.
Yeah. But it's been a year that Trump's been in office
Oh,
or
God.
so, and
Can we just talk
well,
about 9/11
well,
and the happy
but-
days?
but I'm more on the secret part of it, because the whole Russia collusion thing,
Right.
that hasn't lasted a year, and already the
Oh, I feel
information
it
of whatever
has.
may have happened
Right.
is already just falling to pieces.
Yeah.
So if there was something from
the government is
16 years ago,
garbage at keeping secrets, except for, again, when it's a small cell. Like, we
Yeah.
flew into Iran on accident. Bet you didn't know that?
oh,
2 of our birds accidentally went into Iran, and they got warning shots from anti-aircraft guns, and that's when they realized that they were looking at the GPS wrong.
oh yeah, we're in the wrong town. Yeah, that's-
Wrong nation. We invaded Iran.
In 1,000 miles, turn left. Yeah, the GPSs
Well,
don't work like
we
that.
were 40 kilometers from the border. They were across the border, but our FOB was 40 kilometers from the Iranian border. And they had been in Baghdad, and they were on their way back, and they went east.
Yeah, that's a oops. That's,
But yeah, Iran had to fire warning shots. And I've wondered, I think it'd be great if, because our pilots couldn't read a map and didn't understand the GPS coordinates, if like Obama was negotiating like the Iran nuclear deal, and Iran was like, well, what about that time you sent those Blackhawks into our country? And he's like, what? And they're like, oh, we know about it.
Oh man. Well, so that
because
would be
of like a couple dumbass pilots.
yeah. So all the Iran nuclear stuff got screwed up because two guys
Right.
couldn't.
Because
Oh no! we rolled it upside down, and that screws the whole Iran nuclear deal up.
guys, what does the Iraqi flag look like? Because that tower has a different one than I've seen.
Oh no, we're in trouble. So we're gonna move on one more time here. All of my
I
guests.
feel like that totally wasn't okay to say, but I don't care.
Oh well, you know what? It's out there. This is.
Yeah, no.
There's not many people watching this.
We
anyway,
invaded
so.
Iran by mistake.
I wouldn't call that
Briefly.
invaded. That was.
We had a temporary military. We probably have an actual military presence, if we're being real.
Right. Well,
I mean, Israel totally does. They don't even hide it.
well, I mean,
They
then you,
assassinate their scientists on the middle of the road, so.
well, yeah. Then I would think that hikers that wander over the DMZ,
Yeah.
they're not invading anything. When
But
they're
that's
lost.
not. But they're not bringing machine guns and aircraft and like
Yeah, I guess.
platoons.
Just
in
because they don't
uniform
have them,
with
though.
name tapes.
I know, but just because you
Yeah, but
don't
those.
have it.
I mean,
if I was,
realistically, I feel like most of those hikers probably are spies.
yeah, if I was hiking in Korea, I would want a gun though myself.
Yeah,
I would definitely
for
want a
sure. But I also wouldn't hike in North Korea.
gun. No, well, that's
I was thinking of that. There have been Americans arrested hiking in Iran as well.
yeah, there exactly.
Which I imagine, having been 40 kilometers from the border, actually even closer, that Iran, very similar to Iraq for the most part, geographically. Not a great place to hike.
No, which
I mean, there's some mountainous terrain up north, but
it's a lot of desert. I
Yeah.
mean, if you like sand, if
Oh,
you
there
like
is
sand,
sand.
folks, Iran and Iraq are great places. Talk to your travel agent, and I'm sure they can book you something.
Kuwait, better sand.
Better sand. It's
Better sand.
why is
Picture a desert, and that's Kuwait. Iraq doesn't so much have sand as it has, like, dust, but forever.
just dust.
Like, all the way down and all the way out. There are mountains and forests and shit, but, there's a couple rivers. You
Water's
may have
nice.
heard of them. It's Tigris, the Euphrates.
Yeah,
Pretty popular.
water. You gotta have water to survive, I guess. But
But it really is dust. And Kuwait was like sand. It was like a beach that never ended as Kuwait. And Iraq was like an attic that hasn't ever been cleaned.
well, see, then Kuwait's out because I don't like Wildwood because it's too long of a walk from the boardwalk to the water.
Yeah, no. Also, but it's a dry heat.
It's a dry. Well, see, I'm going to go back to my friend who was in Iraq, and the other story he told me was, and you may remember these, is camel spiders,
Yeah, I remember.
which aren't okay. So I can tell by the look on your face. Thank God there's a video podcast that you must have a memory of these things.
Well, yeah.
Not a good
Um,
one, I assume.
Well, I didn't like have one in my boot or like wake up with one on my face. We would catch them and make them fight.
Okay, that's exactly what they did. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we got that. We'd heard stories of that. and-
Okay.
yeah.
So, for anybody who's not familiar with what a camel spider is, they're not actually a
It's
spider.
a spider the size of a camel. It's
Yeah.
fucking terrifying. The Iraqis ride them into combat, and
If that was if that was the truth, they would have won the goddamn war because I would never have even wanted any part of that. Nobody would have wanted a part of
I
that.
mean, I feel like you could still shoot a camel-sized spider pretty. It'd be easier to shoot a camel-sized spider than an actual spider.
Yeah, because you'd want because it'd be just like kill it.
Well, it'd be bigger.
Yeah.
And also, yeah.
So camel spiders are not spiders, if I'm correct. They're actually in the scorpion family.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
But that's still an arachnid, isn't it?
Yeah,
think
but it's more
scorpions are
scorpion.
arachnids.
Yeah, it's just more in the scorpion family than the actual.
Yeah, whatever
spider.
but still arachnids.
Yeah, and they are about that biggish. No, with
It
legs,
gets
not the body,
exaggerated.
not the.
They're
No.
not. No, they're like
Oh, okay.
maybe
With legs, okay.
about that with legs.
Okay.
There might be some that are a little larger, but people get ridiculous and make them look like they're little cats. They're, I don't know, at most leg to leg 6 inches.
Okay.
And even that's ridiculously large.
Okay.
But they're vicious.
Yeah.
They've got nasty little teeth
Yeah.
that just tear into. I mean, they chew through plastic.
Oh,
Or I don't know if they
sweet.
chew. It's like they grind their
Oh.
mandibles into. I don't know.
I'm glad I'm learning about these things because that's places
We watch them like eat flesh. And,
well, that's how they feed on the underside of the camel, right? They hang underneath, I think, or something like that.
I've heard that. I don't.
That's what I thought. I
makes
remember.
sense.
I can't. Yeah, I'm pulling this from out of my head here, folks. So I'm going with the best I can on what I have.
Soldiers like to lie, so and exaggerate.
Well, no, that was more of a what I tried to
No,
learn
but
about
they're
them. Yeah.
even when I went to Iraq, half of what I thought camel spiders were was wrong.
Okay.
And I had heard about them from people, dozens of people that had experienced them, and half of it was bullshit.
Well, okay. So I can sleep tonight. I'm going to change the subject here,
Okay.
and we're going to move over to our ink blot test. So
Yay.
I have made ink blots for each of our
Spiders.
guests. I really don't remember what
I
this
see
one looks
spiders.
like, so it might be I can't remember this one. So we're gonna bring this one up, and we have. Okay, it's a little more peaceful than
That
a.
is
So this is what Mike is looking at here on the screens down below. He's right down there somewhere.
see that picture?
Yep,
That's the one.
that picture. So that's
like
what
this?
Mike see. Oh, look at that! It
Everything
looks
looks like
exactly
this?
like that.
I mean, not exactly similar.
I would hope it looks exactly like that because I took a picture of it. So it
This
should
one
be about the
doesn't
same.
have black framing,
Oh yeah,
and there's no red,
I gotta work on that.
no red square.
They
a
don't see.
rectangle.
They don't see the red square, unfortunately.
You don't see the red square?
No, they
You
don't.
guys are missing out.
I know.
There is a red rectangle around the image, and it's spectacular. It's about, I would say, 6 pixels wide, 4 pixels wide.
Ah, not even that.
It's a hell of a rectangle. Very
Yeah.
red.
And this, folks, is also the last week that I'm going to keep the picture preview up on my monitor next to this so people can see the shot. Because everybody spends a lot of time. For any time you see people looking like this, they're looking at my preview monitor.
I have not done that too much. That I'm aware of.
I don't mind people looking at it, but I didn't want to bring it too much into the conversation. Which is directing us away from the ink blot.
Which has no red.
No red.
It's
What-
I think first off you're fucked up, and that is 2 Mickey Mouses making out
Yeah.
in profile.
That is-
with weird back fat.
Some overweight Mickey Mouse is
And
making
maybe
out.
he's just wearing like baggy hoodies.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't tried inverting it.
Alternatively, it's the head of a penis upside down.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
This is the urethra.
Oh, we're getting
This is-
technical now.
This
Yeah.
is where it's used.
That's where Pete comes out. Yeah. I like the 2 Mickey Mouses. I think that's a little more friendly here. But
I mean,
yeah,
it's too friendly.
I remember when I made this one that was all I saw, and I
That was all.
I mean,
every ink blot also looks like hip bones to me.
yeah.
Actually, no.
But I've been making these. When I make these, I'm doing an ink blot. It's not ink; it's acrylic paint on
Is
a
that
sort
not
of
ink?
cardstock.
Acrylic paint isn't ink.
No, it's not really ink so much. It's
What
just-
is ink? What? How do you define ink from paint?
I guess it would be a dye in a base of some sort.
I mean, how? I know I'm getting technical here,
Yeah.
but I understand
Yeah.
conceptually the difference between paint and ink, but I don't know how I would define them as separate.
I would say the ink is more of a dye in a medium. Like an ink is an
what
alcohol
is
base,
paint then?
like what's in
It doesn't
here.
have to be alcohol. I mean, most ink is water based.
Well, you're leaving a layer which is more of dye and paint.
paint is
Wh-
certainly thicker.
Right, and there's certainly a medium that's meant to cover it, whatever that medium is that paint is. I don't know. Somebody comment below to let me know what paint is because the actual I
and
know
how
that
it's different from ink.
well because when you buy paint, think
Right.
about it. You buy paint, you go to the store, and you go, I
I'm not
need.
arguing that they're different.
Well,
They're definitely
no,
different.
I'm trying to put it into my head as well. And you buy paint, and then here's a thing of paint. Now I need a color,
You can buy ink.
right? But when you buy said color of paint, they add the color.
Right.
Now that's your color. Now if you would just paint the paint, that adds that
But ink is
thickness.
also mixed.
right with
I mean,
whatever.
it's just they mix the paint in front of you. You don't watch them make the ink. And you also don't buy a gallon of ink because that'd be weird.
True, but I
But
guess
you could, and they could.
I guess an ink just sort of dries without a medium as well. I mean, you have a
Ink dries faster, but why?
because
Because
it's
it's
just
thinner?
dye and the thinner, right? So like an alcohol-based ink,
But
would-
but most ink is water based.
not true.
It is.
It is. Well, okay. So any
Sharpies
water-based
are water
ink,
based.
Sharpies are alcohol-based,
Sharpies are water based.
even though you can clean them with alcohol.
Well,
They thin with
you
alcohol.
Could clean them with everything thins with alcohol.
Um,
Well, okay, not everything, but water does.
I know people that
If
get
you
bigger
could
with
clean
alcohol.
it with alcohol, then obviously it's not alcohol based.
Well, no, it would be because you thin.
I
Like
know Sharpies are
Okay,
water
I
based.
guess they are, okay.
Because that's why,
Hmm.
A, they dry so fast, and B, that you can't go over a Sharpie with a different color and blend them, because alcohol itself will dry very quickly, but what it leaves behind you can blend
Right.
colors. That's like the Copic markers
Okay,
are
right.
alcohol based.
Hmm.
And then there's also petroleum based ink.
Oh, I've never seen those, but that's what I think the difference is as far as the
But
paint
paint's
would have
also
a-
petroleum based.
but it has that medium that doesn't dry. You know what I mean? Because if you had a paint and you,
Well, what is that?
that's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm hoping somebody comments
Because
down
The
below.
paint doesn't have to be petroleum based. Obviously, there was paint before
But
they
it's-
could refine.
But it's meant to color more than
No, I agree.
Cover.
Well,
like a stain. Like a stain, I would consider an ink, because a stain goes
you can
into
definitely
the.
stain things with paint.
Well, no, it covers. Because when you paint wood,
Oh, you mean
yeah, you know what I,
I think
mean?
it stains like a wood stain, like staining.
Yeah,
something.
like
I thought
a
you
s-
meant like a mistake, like an
No,
accidental
yeah.
stain.
But like a stain goes into
I don't
goes
think
into the
that's
wood.
Ink or I think that's a finish.
But I think it would. No, the finish is the urethane you throw over top. That's the actual finish.
You're right. You're right.
I have a wood shop down the basement, so now we're in. I'm trying to go my field here.
I still feel that's its own medium.
There's going to be some research done before the next episode, and I might have to have an extra video in between, because I'm going to have to understand this now and what is the difference between paint and ink.
Could you have thick ink?
Oh yeah, I'm sure you could have thicker ink. I mean, there's gel inks, like what's probably in this pen
True.
actually. Like there's a gel ink, but
Gel ink actually, despite the name, when I've broken gel pens, has been very not gel.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I guess that's what I'm thinking. Like ink stains. Like if you get ink on your shirt,
But so does paint.
the paint would peel off. It doesn't leave a
That
color.
depends on the
It
paint.
doesn't leave a color.
I've definitely stained clothing with paint.
Well, with paint, but the color doesn't stay.
Sure it does.
I
Have
just,
you ever like painted a house?
yeah, but
And-
I painted this place, and the paint is on, but I don't think the color actually stays. I
Now-
think the paint and the whatever that medium is that I'm thinking
But that
of.
depends on like like an acrylic paint, I think will peel off of most things, off of most fibers. But
Probably not that. That's, yeah. Hmm.
but an oil paint will definitely stain.
I'm gonna be looking this up for sure. Because
An oil
this is-
paint's very thin like ink.
Yeah. Well, this may be something for another podcast, so that's for sure. Because
It's such a dumb, but now I'm super curious.
No, well, yeah, I am as well. Because we've definitely pushed this
Anyway,
one a little
two
farther.
Mickey
but
Mouses
It's two Mickey Mouses
making out.
Yeah, that's.
Also, this side is paint and this side is ink. You probably can't tell. They're
Yeah,
different.
if you can tell the difference, congratulations, I guess. So yeah,
So
it's-
this is paint, though.
yes, that is acrylic paint, cheap. I have a quart of it downstairs. But yeah, so that's what I meant to start this whole thing off with, is I don't actually use ink because I don't have any. So I don't have any ink, so that's why this becomes a acrylic paint blot test.
So you should buy a gallon of ink.
I guess I should get some ink and see what happens.
Buy the gallon.
And see what exactly goes down. But anyway, we've run this podcast a little bit longer than most of my other episodes.
Yeah.
So
I do that.
no, but it's fine. I'm very glad to have you on, Mike.
Josh,
and
comment on whatever you were supposed to comment on. Bitter fucking watch this.
yeah,
Someone figure out this ink paint situation.
yeah. Well, that might be the exact person
and how
we need.
stain falls into this.
Yeah, Josh Carter may be able to help answer us better a little bit from last week's podcast. If you haven't checked that out, please check that out now.
So for
Josh
the epilogue
Carter,
of this podcast, check the comments. Find Josh Carter.
yeah, and he may definitely
will.
He better. That's I like that way of saying
Better
it
done
much more.
best done it.
So if you want to follow Mike or Twice Mike,
Which is
or
me and
Starving
Mike
Naked,
Lozada, hence the name.
yes. So any of their information I'm going to put down below here. I'm going to put links to their Facebook and as well as Starving Naked and any of their links that I can get off of him after we're off the air because I didn't
Right.
remember them all.
It's all Twice Mike Pro, except for YouTube, but and TwiceMike.com. All
Yeah.
social media is Twice Mike Pro.
There you go.
Website, Twice Mike.
So look them up at Twice Mike Pro, so we'll be able to find it.
And
I'm gonna-
hire us to make your music video, film your wedding, and we also just do funny shit. So
And
check out sketches that we did.
and
Also, Starving Naked Comic.
And yeah, hopefully when it gets warmer, Starving Naked Comedy will be back outdoors at Bobby Ray's, and we will.
Which is at 6234 Westfield Avenue in Pensacola, New Jersey.
There you go. I'm sorry I couldn't remember.
I
My
always
apologies.
have to be very specific. It's
Right.
6234 Westfield Ave. Pensacola. It's two N's.
Yeah.
Followed by a Saucon, New Jersey.
What is a Saucon? Or no,
A
we don't have
Saucon?
time for this.
It's what comes after a pen.
Well, there's Lower Saucon Valley up north, and so yeah, we're not gonna go.
You know what's in a pen?
Yes, ink.
No, the letter E.
God damn it, man. All right, I walk myself
I
into that
hate
one.
myself.
Follow
Are
us.
you gonna end on that?
Follow us. I'm gonna have to because I can't go anywhere with it.
I'm ashamed.
Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe and like this on YouTube, please, folks. It helps a lot. Helps me want to make more videos and bring them out to you guys more regularly. Thank you again, Mike, for coming out here and being part of this. And as always, folks,
Always.
don't forget your toilet poncho. Thanks for watching, folks.